Hello everyone, it's your boy B3 back with another kicking action figure review. Today I have a figure I have been waiting for even before this line was announced. Right? So the first of Hasbro's adult collectible Power Ranger figures. The Power Rangers Lightning Collection S.P.D. Shadow Ranger, aka Doggie Cruger himself. Doggie Cruger is my favorite Power Rangers character. He's the mofo that sent Red Ranger into battle with a fake Shadow Saber. And you know what? Red Ranger won! I love Doggie Cruger. He's got a great look, he's got great powers, and he's just a great leader. Screw Zordon. Doggie Cruger is best Power Rangers mentor. Love Doggie Cruger. And we got a nice new packaging on these. I wanted to show the packaging for this. I don't show packaging a lot, but since this is a new line and I really like the packaging you got a nice illustration of the Shadow Ranger up front. You know, the names and stuff, legal information. That illustration wraps around to the side. You have the name of the show he's from up here. A nice product image on the back. Just one big product image, some more legal stuff. You know, and there's the portrait on the side as well. Just a blue top. So whether you can have these like displayed on a bookshelf sideways, and it would still look really nice with other ones because you can just line up the pictures. These impact people that like to collect figures and leave them in package, which I don't understand. I guess it's like art to them that you would hang on the wall. But people who like to keep figures in package definitely will like this packaging. It's really nice. Mine are unhung, but I'm going to open them anyway, so who cares? Let's actually open him right now. And here he is in the plastic. I almost said in the flesh. S.P.D. Shadow Ranger. S.P.D. had a lot of Rangers in it. In fact, at the time S.P.D. was released, it had more Rangers in it than any show beforehand. Just a little fun S.P.D. fact, because they had the main 5, and then they had the 5 A-Squad Rangers, and they had Shadow Ranger, Omega Ranger, Nova Ranger, Cat Ranger, and all 5 Dino Thunder Rangers made an appearance as well. And then there was also the Orange Ranger in the dream sequence. And, of course, you had the flashback to Sky's dad, who was like a Time Force Red Ranger. And he was really just the same as the Time Force Red Ranger, but with an SPD badge. So yeah, it had a lot of Rangers in it. I've seen SPD many times, if you can't tell. Because you can tell I've seen it a lot, because I remembered the dream sequence Orange Ranger. But this is a dream figure for me. This is probably one of the prized figures in my collection, just because I've always wanted a good depiction of Shadow Ranger. I never had a Shadow Ranger figure as a kid, even though I was big in the Power Rangers when SPD came out. I watched it on Jetix, I believe. It was Jetix, yeah. I was big in the Power Rangers when it came out. I'm still big in the SPD today. I have it on DVD. It's fantastic. Shadow Ranger... Once again, my favorite Power Rangers mentor. I'm going to take this out so I can show accessories later. But we're actually going to talk about articulation first. And the articulation is great. It's so good. I'm glad there weren't Build-A-Figures in this line so that they could devote more to each figure, which I think was necessary. Kind of like how it was necessary for the Black Series. God, he's so good. Up and down on the head, side to side on the head. Then you have forward and back joints like this in the arm. I did not expect those joints. I usually expect those on like their Marvel Legends Spider-Man figures, and they go so far. Look how far they go. They're great joints. Forward and back on the arm, in and out, bicep, double elbow bend, wrist swivel, forward and back on the wrists. That's already so much. You got forward and back, side to side, all kinds of movement on the torso, and then you have like a waist crunch as well, so you can get so much movement out of this guy. It's really quite insane. In and out on the leg, you can almost do a full split, which is pretty good. Forward, back, the back isn't too bad, or it's not too good because of the butt, but you can still kind of come back and out a little. Thigh swivel. Double knee bend. This part's loose. It's just a cover on the leg, but that's good because you can pull it down to do more knee bend stuff, and you can push it up if you want to get more movement out of the foot, like this up and down or this ankle pivot. This is really the Power Ranger line that I've always wanted, both as a kid and as an adult collector, I think, because they aren't beefed to hell. Now we're going to talk about detail and paint. He's not beefed to hell. These are the first screen-accurate Power Ranger figures that we've ever gotten. Whoa, what about figure arts? Those aren't American figures. And I know we had some American releases for like the Mighty Morphin one and a couple Shinkingers, which would be the Samurai Rangers. But these are the first 100% American figures that are show accurate. And his paint's just beautiful. I don't seem to have any paint problems on him. I watched another review of this. I watched a review of this guy before the video, and the review didn't mention this. It didn't mention this joint. I was watching the review because the guy that does them, Long's Toys, usually has some good info. But I think my Shadow Ranger turned out better than his because his had a scraped face and mine does not. God, he looks so good. Painted all the way on the back. This is easily just this one figure, and this is already one of my favorite toy lines. Wow. So good. Love the belt. Love everything. Now we're going to talk about accessories. He comes with this one kind of holding hand for his badge, but it's also kind of a pointing hand, so he can give some orders and stuff. And then he has a holding hand for the sword here. Of course, you saw the Shadow Saber earlier, one of my favorite Power Ranger weapons of all time. Very cool. It is painted, more than I thought it would be. They didn't have to give us that red on the blade, but they did. Hasbro's kind of going all out on its Power Ranger figures, because it's its first year of the license. They kind of got to prove themselves, you know? And then we have the S.P.D. Morpher badge judgment thing. Some people have told me it's painted on the wrong side, like the S.P.D. part should be painted on this side and not this side, but the sides are so similar, I'm not sure how you could even really tell. They almost look exactly the same. I guess it depends on what side that's on, that little part right there at the top. But I'm glad he got his Morpher. I am going to show you how he holds it. I guess you just shove it in the hand. S.P.D. emergency! Sorry. I'm going to show you how he holds the Shadow Saber as well. I'll be displaying mine with the Shadow Saber. You already saw it go in its holster pretty well earlier in the video. That's really good. What's my kitty doing? He also has a cool posing hand. You know Toku characters love to do their poses, and Power Rangers is about as Toku as it gets in America. So, you know, you can do some poses with that hand. He also got a fist hand. I'll probably display him with this fist hand, honestly. I don't really need him displayed with the Morpher hand because I don't want to display him with the Morpher. Then we also get an energy effect part. That seems to be like it's... Apparently they called this the Lightning series because, one, the lightning bolt in the name, Power Rangers. And also because they're going to give them lots of lightning effects and energy effects to go on the blades and stuff. So you just kind of weasel the blade through this. Bada bing, bada boom. Powerful energy! That's really rad. Look at that. That's beautiful. It's got the shadowy wisp going up it, like in the show. That's awesome. I don't know how show accurate that is. It's been a little while since I watched S.P.D. Now I'm going to show you my favorite accessory of them all. His interchangeable head. They're giving us unmasked heads for this line. That didn't cost extra for Doggie Cruger except for sculpting, but they have to pay for actor likeness, you know. So they're actually giving us that. I guess they figured they pay for it for Marvel and they pay for it for Star Wars, and that goes to good use. So they're giving that to us here as well. Of course, they don't have to do that for Doggie Cruger because he was a suit. But this is a good-looking Doggie Cruger head. I would actually like a figure of just Doggie Cruger unmorphed. We'll probably never get that, but I would buy that. I'd pay the $20 for that. I love Doggie Cruger so much. Plus, he's a unique alien character. I actually like his design in Power Rangers more than I like his design in Super Sentai. In Super Sentai, it's really just kind of a gray-blue dog head. And in ours, it's like blue, and he's got these alien ears, and it's all scaly, and he's got these dreads. You know, he looks way more alien in our show, and it's honestly just a better suit. And they have this neck piece that you can slip over the neck when you take the head off, so that everything lines up and is totally accurate. What? Bandai who? Bandai who, dude? Now we're going to do some size comparisons. First up here, here's my fat-ass cat. So, this is how he scales with Noddy. She's named after a Kamen Rider, so it's relevant. But, I guess someone made their kidder grow. let's move him to this side so that I can show better size comparisons. Oh, these are comic books. I'm sorry. But here he is with their kid line, the Beast Morphers line. And you know what? He's only a little taller than the Beast Morpher Blue. And you know what? That's actually kind of accurate. I'm guessing the Blue Ranger's kind of a young guy anyways. I'm not watching Beast Morphers. I've watched Go Busters, but not Beast Morphers. So I'm really happy to finally have some Go Busters figures in my collection. But Doggie Cruger was really tall anyways, so this actually works out perfectly. Specifically for Doggie Cruger, not for the line in general. We'll see about that when we get to the Dino Charge Red Ranger review, which should be our next review. I know lots of people want to see him with a Marvel Legend, so here he is with a very basic Bucky Cap Marvel Legend mold in the form of Deadpool. The Marvel Legends are a little bigger. I kind of like that the Rangers are more this size because I can scale them better with the kids line. So the kid line and the adult line are almost the same scale, and I think that's really cool. I really actually do think that's quite cool. Now I do want to compare him with some previous Ranger lines from Bandai as well. I think that's very important. First up, here he is with the Legacy line. I know many of you want to know what he looks like with the Legacy line. So here's the GameStop exclusive Armored Red Ranger. I thought that would be a good figure to show since I actually I pre-ordered Lord Zed from GameStop. He's not in yet, but I got the 3 Rangers from Amazon. They're not in scale with the Legacy line. And honestly, they have way better detail and paint and stuff than the Legacy line anyways, so who cares? They will be displayed in front of the Legacy line, 1, because of size, and 2, because they're just better, dude. They're just better. And if you want to see him with the 5-inch Power Rangers line, here he is with the Evil Red Ranger. Wow, who cares? I don't have a Sentai Hero Series figure. I have one in the mail on the way here, but I don't have one on me. But here's a figure that's the same size as a Sentai Hero Series figure. Kamen Rider Zeo build armor. So the Sentai Hero Series will probably be a little big for this line. The Sentai Hero Series should scale well with your Bandai Legacies, but maybe not this Lightning Collection line. The best bet for the Lightning Collection is just to scale it with itself. And honestly, as long as any toy line scales with itself, that's all it's required to do by judging standards, in my opinion. But I like displaying multiple lines together, so especially when it comes to Toku, because Kamen Rider and Super Sentai cross over all the time, like every year. So, what are my final thoughts on Best Ranger Doggie Cruger from... or the S.P.D. Shadow Ranger from the Power Rangers Lightning Collection and Hasbro? Hasbro, thank you. I have always wanted this character in my collection. As a kid and as an adult collector. And even as a kid, I didn't really like how buff Ranger toys were. As a kid, I was like, I wish my Rangers looked like they did in the show. And I hope kids today think that too. And while this line isn't for kids, it has lots of small parts that younger kids could choke on. Hasbro has made a commitment to making Ranger toys of all ages, for all ages. Like these are good for the older kids, and they've made a Power Ranger line for all ages. But this is the adult collectible line. Keep that in mind when you're getting these for your kids. Maybe an older kid could handle these, but they'd probably still lose the accessories. You know? But I love it. I love this figure. He's fantastic. He's everything I wanted him to be, and maybe even more. This is one of my top figures now, and I'm going to treasure it forever. I'm hyped on this line, as you can tell. So that's it. Thank you all once again for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. Once again, next time we will be reviewing the Dino Charge Red Ranger. Check us out on Patreon, and I'll see you all later.